Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Kingdom Communicators Network as we get to celebrate one of our own. So if you have been wondering who the mystery guest is, here she is. It's the wonderful, amazing, beautiful, awesome friend and amazing author, Tammy J. Hernandez. Tammy, we are so excited for you.
Thank you.
I am joined by Shirley, who is the chief editor for Kingdom Communicators Network, or KCN. If you get confused who's KCN, we are the Kingdom Communicators Network, and we are absolutely excited about this beautiful book baby that has been birthed, and I cannot wait to share the details with you today. Just to formally introduce this amazing lady, Tammy is wife to Roger, mom to Hope, Isaac, Luke, and Ethan. I hope I got all those names right.
Did. I'm impressed.
Beautiful kiddos. And she's also a published author of an amazing book called Soul Belief. So we're going to talk a little bit more about her life message, and I'm so excited to share that with you. But more than all of those things, she is such a close friend, so cherished, so loved, and I'm so glad to have crossed paths with you, Tammy, and to be able to sit here today and celebrate this amazing, beautiful book with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I love you, ladies.
So we are launching your children's book. It's called I'll Never Stop Loving You. And from the get-go, I just want to say, please order Tammy's book today. You will not be disappointed. It is an amazing, beautiful book, and we're going to look at it in detail, but make sure you've got your Amazon app ready and available, because we want to support her. She's done such a brilliant job of bringing this beautiful book together. I know it wasn't an easy journey because we've been part of it from the very beginning to the end. Shirley has edited the book, and I'm going to let Shirley say a few things in a minute. But yeah, I want to from the get-go say, get ready, because you want to order this amazing book. And yeah, we're going to start giving you some details soon. But Shirley, can you just tell us about your experience working with Tammy and being the editor for this book?
Oh, it's really been a beautiful journey. I know it's had its struggles, which we all do with any book, but especially a children's book, and when it also needs to be illustrated, and the message has to be reflected and come through in word and in picture. So sometimes you don't understand how much more work really goes into it. Meliza, I'm sure you do with your children's series, but the message was just so profound. It was something that I had to read over and over and over. And of course, editing it, I was able to really take my time and analyze the message behind the words and how it comes through so clear. Love. Parenting is not always easy, and it's sometimes messy, and sometimes you're lost. Children don't come with a book, a how-to book. So,
that's right.
But the love we have for our children is instant. The minute that we give birth, and comparing that with the love of the Father, it's just such a beautiful. My own daughter, I had a chance to read part of it and can't wait to buy it for her new grandson. And that her family got to be involved was a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Using her own children sometimes as examples and actual events. I'll let her tell all about that.
Right. So on that note, I do have a surprise for you, Tammy. but I do want to just ask you, how does it feel? How does it feel to be on this side of the process and you've launched your second book? How do you feel?
Relieved. This was quite a journey. It's funny, it came about very quickly, but it was a lot of roller coaster, and it was out of my genre. I didn't think I'd ever write a children's book, and of course now I really want to more, but it's relief. It is quite a bit different than releasing a nonfiction.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much that goes into that journey. So many highs, so many lows, whether you're doing a picture book or a normal book or doing anything outside of your comfort zone for the first time is a bit of a roller coaster ride. I just want to apologize as well if I look a little bit distant. I'm keeping eyes on comments as well. And I'm not great at multitasking, but I have someone who wants to come in and just congratulate and celebrate with us. So here we go. We'll just wait a few seconds for Roger to connect. Roger is Tammy's husband, and he's joining us today just to say well done to all your hard work and commitment in getting this book done.
Well, my family deserves a reward. When I wrote Soul Believes, they really weren't that involved as far as like needing them. But this one, I tapped into my children and my husband so many times. What do you think about this? And is this saying the right thing? And what do you think about this picture? And so they all deserve a round of applause for putting up with me over the last 6 months.
Well, I can relate to all of that. It is always challenging when somebody is busy on a project and it's time consuming and it costs. Writing a book and publishing, it does cost, and it's important to count those costs, not just financially, but also relationally and with your family. And it's really awesome that you have such a supportive family who are behind you and who is cheering for you. Roger, thank you for being here.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hold on, let me get the boys. They're in here too. Excuse me while I unblur.
I see Ethan.
Use the office.
Hey.
We have a mess.
Well, clearly this was not planned, because otherwise I never would have let them show such a big mess.
Hey, it's the messes that we can all relate to.
Yes.
You got to say hi, Bubba. I did.
He's probably
Luke?
like, I can't believe you guys made me do this.
Luke left, apparently.
Yeah, Luke's like, no way.
We're extremely proud of you, babe. You did a fantastic job. You worked your tail off to get this thing done a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yep. I appreciate all you guys helping me.
Yeah, of course, honey. We love you. We believe in you and we're proud of you.
Thanks. Thank you, Ethan. Ethan is like my go-to whenever I'm like ready to quit. So he always encourages me and pushes me forward.
Yeah, Ethan has encouraged me as well on my journey. I see another little hand waving there.
That's Luke. He's still hiding for some reason.
Wow, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Come on, buddy.
Well, he's here. He's here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I love you, babe.
Love you guys.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
So, Tammy, I just want to say, like, you were one of the first people I connected with on this writing journey. And I remember when we just started out and we were one of the first couple of people to submit our manuscripts, and we were sharing manuscripts and reading each other's stories. And, you know, it was such an exciting time. We had no idea what was in store for us and how many challenges we were going to come up against, and how many things we would need to learn, and how many heartaches and disappointments we were needing to navigate, and all of these things that were waiting for us. So it is really a huge honor to be here today celebrating not just your first book, but your second one. And, you know, even with this one, we had some unexpected things happen, and we've had to navigate and learn some new things. So, yeah, I just wanted to ask you to share a little bit about your experience. What called you to say yes to writing your books? And because it isn't an easy yes. It, as we said earlier, it does come with cost. It comes with commitment. It, you know, what made you pick up your pen and say yes to the call to write?
Yeah, especially from someone who has dealt with the fear of rejection and rejection in general. It had to be something bigger than all that. And it was my desire for God to touch other people's lives. Honestly, I know that sounds probably very super spiritual, but it is the truth. Yeah. Because I don't want to put myself out there to be rejected. Of course, everybody experiences some form of that, but it had to be that God did something so big in my life that I thought other people can experience that. And it was worth the risk of being an author and putting yourself out there. Yeah. So I had such a transformation happen to me that I couldn't be quiet about it.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where I had to do what I felt like God had put in my heart to do.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you did. I remember when I first read your manuscript, and I said the same thing to Shirley when we launched her book last week. It is such a testimony to the power of God's love. When you read a story and you look at the individual in front of you and you think, wow, God did such a work of transformation in your life that it's almost crazy to think that that was your story. When I look at you today and I see the amazing wife and mom and friend and just human being that you are, you can just see the love of God all over you. Yeah. So it's such a great testimony. Shirley, do you want to add to that?
Yes, it really is, having somewhat of a similar background. Yeah, is you know how you read about or people talk about, our spirits connected, and that's kind of the way it happened. It was instant connection with the group of us, actually. And Tammy, when we read her book and I first started getting to know her, and I used it in studies, whole group studies, and it made such an impact on so many. And you begin to realize we're not alone. And that even makes it more important to share those messages and to share our testimonies, because there are a lot of people out there who are hurting and who do not understand what kind of life they can have. And her book and your book too, Meliza, Untangled, have been profound. And I just pray all the time that they just spread like wildfire and get out there. And isn't that what we're all called to do? And I know Roger can attest to this too. We all have a ministry. It's to, and they do, marriage classes and things like that together, is to teach. We're all called to be teachers. We're all called to spread the news and to help people be saved and delivered and redeemed. And it does a beautiful job of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about seeing the second book, I'll Never Stop Loving You. To me, it was such a beautiful reflection of that message that you carry. It's the same message that you wrote in Soul Beliefs, but it's just in such a beautiful, simple, childlike way that you've expressed that message. And I just love that, it's true what Shirley says. We all are called to carry a message. We all have this beautiful love story that God writes on our hearts that is unique to us, but you can see it trickle through everything we do. It is like a godly aroma or a flavor of God's presence in our life. And it's such a beautiful presence in both these books, Soul Beliefs, as well as I'll never stop loving you. So, Tammy, do you want to share a little bit about your story and kind of some of the key moments that you write about in Soul Beliefs and then we'll move into I'll Never Stop Loving You.
Sure. If anyone's heard my story, I had a radical transformation about 12, 13 years ago, where I was a very dedicated, sold out believer for years and years and years, since I was 19 years old, but did not realize that I had really a very religious and legalistic relationship with God, the Father. I loved Jesus. I thought he was amazing, but unconsciously, I really thought God was much more difficult to please and very much a harsh, father. And after that encounter, and subsequent process that I went through, and it was a process. It is not one single moment. It is him loving on us and visiting those wounds and telling us truth when we spend that time with him. Love changed my life. Like, seriously, the love of the Father was the only thing that ever really set me free from legalism and works and performance. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that I never have those in fear. Those things can try to come at me, but within me, he visited those places and set me free. And I kind of viewed love kind of weak, honestly. I mean, I really did. I was a very black and white, strong and legalistic Christian. And I could give grace to to the world and to unbelievers without a problem. But within the church, I was very tough. I could not quite understand, like, okay, straighten your act up kind of thing. But all my efforts, all the word, everything I did didn't change me inside. It was his love that changed me inside. It was actually an encounter with his love that really began to show me what I really thought. Out of that, I was praying for one of my kids, and Meliza had actually stirred up this desire for a children's book. And I was dabbling with that particular book. And all of a sudden, one day I was in prayer, and for one particular child that I saw this need to be perfect and this need to perform. And as I was praying, this book kind of got downloaded into me, and I went to him and gave that to him and loved on him. And it's a message that I want him to know forever. And again, it's the love of God that changes us. And it's an interesting concept, because as I felt like God was giving me this book, I knew it was for children. I want children at a young age to understand that you don't have to earn God's love. You don't have to perform for it. You're not going to blow it. God loves you greater than any sin. He wants to rescue you and set you free and be there for you. But what broke my heart was for the mom and the dad and the reader of the book, that I understood, because I could put myself in there. I needed to teach my children the love of God. And I thought I was growing up with all of my kids, all four of my kids. But the thing is that I wasn't operating out of that same love. So I couldn't really give it.
Yeah.
So the goal in this book is to reach the child and teach them the unconditional love of God. But it's really to also minister to that reader and try to get them to understand, look, as every parent can understand unconditional love for their child. They have no problem understanding that. But where we often, as the parents, struggle with is realizing that God is even greater than us in loving our children. He loves us.
Yeah.
And he wants to change our diapers, even though it may happen over and over and over again. He wants to pick us up every time we fall and walk, and trip and learn to walk. I remember specifically talking to you guys, Meliza and Shirley, one of the times that we were together. And the fact that God never says to us, we never say to our kids when they're starting to learn how to walk, okay, you tried 3 times, that's it. You tried 10 times, stop it. You're going to crawl for the rest of your life. But yet we have that kind of concept with God. If we fall over and over again, we mess up on the same thing over and over and over again, we feel like God's going to get to that limit and say, that's it. Just crawl from now on. Just stay there. And that's not who he is.
Yeah. That's so profound, Tammy. That really is so profound. It's such a simple truth, but it is at the heart of everything. It's at the core of everything.
Yes.
And it's a message that we cannot hear enough ourselves, and absolutely need to instill into our kids. I just remember myself, I know my background growing up was very different from yours, but even so, I grew up with that feeling of never being good enough
Hmm.
and working so hard to try and achieve that feeling of being accepted, being okay. Um, it's a universal question, I think, or a universal issue that we all wrestle with, that
Yes.
feeling of being worthy of
Yes.
God's love,
Yeah.
being worthy of his kindness and his
Yeah.
goodness.
Yes.
We as parents, we never hesitate to be good to our kids, right? Even when they are so naughty. You just want to strangle them sometimes. But then at the same time, you just love them, and
Yeah.
you can't do enough for them. Um,
If
and
I might say to the mom and dad and the grandparents out there, or anybody who's raising children, look, you can do your very best. You can tell your children you love them all the time. I did. I told my kids all the time I love them. I told them God has a good plan for you. I told them all that stuff. But I promise you, in one way or shape or another, they have all had to wrestle that out for themselves. One, different personalities, but two, the Bible's very clear. It says in John 10:10, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He
Yeah.
wants to steal that message that you're constantly giving to your child. So what I really hope happens with this book is that when you're reading this book to your children, that it will open up an opportunity for you to say specifically, when talk to your kids, open up a conversation. When you did that, hey, when you lied to me about that, I just want you to know that's not who you are. Like, that's
Yeah.
just what you did. Like, it doesn't affect my love for you. I want parents to begin to have this conversation with their kids and so maybe there's something in the book that you didn't experience, but you can take one of the experiences that you
Yeah.
legitimately had with one of your kids and say, it's kind of like when you did this. That's just, I don't see you like that. That's just a mistake you made, and it's not who you are. And
Yeah.
really open up those conversations, because I can promise you the devil's not going to stop coming and trying to steal that message. He's going to do it and hammer it over and over again. His
Yeah.
name means that. He'll come and hammer it over and over and over again. So we've got to do everything we can. And most importantly, not just say you love your kids, but especially when they mess up.
yes,
Especially then, that's when we need to hear it the most, right? On a good day, I may not need to be reminded God loves me, but on a bad day, I need to be reminded that he loves me.
yeah.
Unconditionally.
Yes. It's just not affected by what we
Yeah.
do. And just blows our mind that it's
Yes.
just not affected. His love is constant.
Yeah.
It is.
I find it so interesting that we can often it's so easy to extend grace to others, especially our kids,
Yeah.
but extending that same grace to ourselves, sometimes when we make mistakes, it can be so hard. And I think that's why we need a supernatural encounter. We need that connection with the love
Yeah.
of God, because we actually can't love unconditionally ourselves unless we are unconditionally loved by him. And we can't parent well unless we are allowing him to parent us in his kind and gentle way.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that is complete truth there.
Yeah.
I tried it. It didn't work. As much as I loved all my kids, and I think I was a really good mom and am a good mom, but there were so many messages that kind of got twisted, because I'd say one thing, but yet my heart wasn't being loved by God myself. So it is, you're right, Meliza, it's very hard to do unless you encounter the love of the Father yourself.
And when we don't feel loved, it's hard to reflect that love.
Yes.
When we can't forgive ourselves and receive his love, no matter what we've done, or he loves us period. But if we can't feel loved, it's very hard to give love.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very true.
absolutely.
So I hope that it stirs that desire for the reader as well, if they're reading to their children, to really go, am I living in that love? Like, am I in that ooey gooey love of God? Because if you are, you're going to be a much better parent. You're going to be a much better spouse. You're going to be a much better, happier person.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the ooey
Perfectly
gooey.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shirley.
I was just going to say the book perfectly reflects that. It perfectly, down through the pages and down through the different events, it just builds up to that beautiful ending message of, you know, if I can love you through all of that, how much more does the Father love us?
That's right. Yeah. There's a lot of ooey gooey and sticky and messy pages and illustrations in this book. It's actually very cute.
Yes,
So,
Give a shout out to Janine. Do you say her name Mueller?
yes, Miller.
Okay. Who did the illustrations and the time that she took to hear my heart behind the scenes and to understand the message and the beautiful work. It is not AI. It is not digital. She hand drew and hand watercolored all of these illustrations. So beautiful, beautiful work that she did.
Yeah.
we did.
It is such a process to get that creative concept that you have for your book onto paper and to communicate your heart with an illustrator. It can be quite tricky. So yeah, I'm in awe of how beautiful everything has turned out. And yeah, well done, Janine. We are very proud of you as well. I know you are just kind of starting out your journey as an illustrator as well, and you did a marvelous job.
Yes.
So yeah.
Bye, honey.
Roger, thank you for joining us so much.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye
so
bye.
much.
Love you, babe. Proud of you.
Bye.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about that publishing process, because I know we have a lot of people who are not yet published or thinking of publishing, or maybe have their second manuscript ready to go and they're not sure how to move forward. How does it feel to be on the other side of the KCN process?
I'm so grateful. First of all, the book would not have even started. I am still living that message of soul beliefs and doing that. So I was not in the zone to write another book at all, although I knew in the future I would. But you can't be around Meliza very long before she pulls that out of you. And
absolutely,
yeah. And so that, having you guys, having people that I could literally go to when I was doubting and question. I can't tell you how many times I would go and say, could you read that again? Does that come across right? Am I saying this? And do you know, look at it from a kid's point of view. Tell me from a mom's point of view, and all of those things. So having a group of people like you that never get sick and tired of going over it. Honestly, it was rewritten. You know, the concept is exactly what God gave me, but of course you massage it and tweak it because now it's for a larger scale. So having a group of people that can be honest with you and say, hey, I like that, maybe work on that. It changes everything. I would not want to do it on my own at all.
What advice would you give to someone who isn't sure or just starting out? What advice would you give them?
There's so many things I would say, but you can't be afraid of failure. How do I say that more accurately? You can be afraid of failure. It's terrifying. I'm not going to lie to you, but don't let it stop you. I love what Joyce Meyer says, do it, but do it afraid. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be hard, but this is the thing I can say, don't get to the end of your life and not have tried and done what you feel like God's put in your heart. That's a horrible thought for me. I have to put on a scale, afraid I'm going to be rejected, or get to the end of my life and maybe see all the things that God wanted to do, but I didn't do because I was afraid. And that brings that fear down. So just do it. It's going to be difficult. You're not going to be any different than anybody else. It's hard for everybody.
Yes.
Different levels of hard. Just plan on that. It's a ride. It's a ride and a half. But do it. Do it. It's so worth it.
Yes, absolutely. I echo that. Now, we've spoken about the message behind the book, and we're going to look at the book in a little bit more detail in a minute, but we have kind of touched as well on this, but I just want you to kind of tell us again who this book is specifically for, because I know somebody might be listening and you think, well, I don't have little children anymore, but you may know somebody who really needs this message. And we talk so often in KCN group and in answering the call to write group, we talk about who is your person. So Tammy, who is the person that this book is for?
It is a dual type situation. It is for anybody who wants to continue to reiterate to a child and get them off on a good foundation of unconditional love. But if you, like Meliza said, don't have, or if you know someone who does have children but really you want maybe you see things show up in the mom that maybe she doesn't feel loved, or maybe she's rejecting herself. I believe that's what God gave me the message for. It's also for that person that's going to be reading it, that mom, that dad, that grandparent, that aunt, that uncle. Because especially if you have children, you're going to go, wow, like if I can love like that, and my love's so flawed, right? It's just human love. How much more God can love me. So yes, if you are a grandparent, for parent in general, but anybody that you know that has kids that may be struggling, that's a hard time. Raising young children, you're young yourself usually, right? You're insecure, you're wondering, come on, my kids, my late 20s and all the way up to my 40s. They bring out all the things in us that need to be touched. So yeah, if you just know a mom or dad that just needs to know God's love themselves, and if they have children, they can read it, and hopefully God's going to reveal his love to them as well.
Yeah. So I just want to reiterate at this point, as you're listening, please grab a copy of Tammy's book today if you can. It really helps the author get onto a good, I don't know what the right word is, but it helps their rankings on Amazon if you can get that book today. The link to buy Tammy's book is in the description. I'm also going to drop some links that you can look at in the comments after we broadcast today. But have a look at the description. Get that book. Get it for your grannies. Get it for your moms. Get it for your parents. Anybody who needs to hear this message, get it for them. It's going to be an amazing Christmas gift to share the unconditional love of God with the members in your family or friends. So hop onto Amazon and go and have a look at it. It is just beautiful. So let's have a look. So before we do, Tammy, you've got some cool bonuses for people as well today. So let's talk about that, and then we'll so you've got an audio book, right? You've got an audio option that is attached to your book. So do you want to talk about that?
Yep. So in the book, when you buy the book, there's a gift in the back for you to download a free audio of the book as well. So if you want to have that played at night with your children, whatever you want to do with that, that's free gift with the code inside. And then today, if you go and order today, and you snap a picture when you get the book and you tag me, I'm going to send you a downloadable coloring book that I created that has characters from the book, and your kids can also color and download those immediately. The ebook is available as well. Some children are on, iPads and things like that. So I did want to do that. So there is an ebook version as well. If you do tag me after you've got it, then I will send you that downloadable coloring book for free.
Yeah, and that's so awesome with the holidays coming up, and having some extra activities to keep the kids busy are always welcome, right? Awesome. Okay, so we've got a few people who is saying congratulations as well. So just a shout out to Paula Burr, thank you for watching. And to Jenia Bishop, thank you for watching and celebrating with us. Right, Tammy, let's have a look at this book. So I'm going to put you on speaker view, and then I'll hand it over to you.
And if you're all right with it, I'm actually going to play the audio version while we're going through the book. I hope that everybody can hear it clearly, but I will.
Yeah, if there's any problems with the sound, please just let us know immediately.
I held
and
you
then we
close
can...
to my heart
Okay.
and sang you a lullaby.
I'll start it over since I didn't have the page ready.
When I held you close to my heart and sang you a lullaby, you couldn't say, I love you. But that didn't stop me from loving you. When you kept me up all night, needing to be fed, you couldn't say, thank you. But I was delighted to provide for you. When I changed your stinky diapers over and over again, you couldn't say, great job. But I was happy to take care of you. When I cooked your food, and most of it ended up on the floor, you couldn't help me clean the mess. But it was fun watching you try. When I put my dreams on hold to help you chase yours, I knew you weren't aware. But you had become my favorite dream. When I stayed up all night and nursed you back to health, you gave me your chicken pox, but it's a memory I still treasure. When I tried to teach you right from wrong and you didn't want to listen, your words weren't always kind, but I never stopped believing the best about you. I tell you this not to complain, but just so you know this important truth. No matter what you do or don't do, I'll never stop loving you. I would do it all again, even the hardest and stickiest parts, because you are so worth it. So if you find it amazing that I can love you in this way, imagine how much more you're loved by the very one who made you. God loves us when we're messy. He does what we can't do, not because we've earned it, but just because we're his. The end.
Sorry about that little delay there.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah,
That's so beautiful.
it is.
What a beautiful message.
Again, what I really hope happens is that you can put yourself into those positions. You know what your kids have done. One of my boys took lipstick. We didn't put that in the book, but he took lipstick and drew, because he was an artist, drew all over the wall under my table. You know your kids and what they've done, and you can bring up those moments with them and say, or if it was something a little bit more serious, if they lied, if they stole, and make, this is the thing, guys, as adults and as children, we've got to separate our who from our do, our good do and our bad do.
Yeah.
I bet no one that I talk to as a believer would say, hey, is your good behavior getting you closer to God? Is your good behavior making God love you? They would all go, no, no, no. Why then do we believe that our bad behavior has the opposite effect? We can't earn it. We can't get rid of it. We can't make it diminish. We can't lose it. Correction is simply an invitation to be pulled into the heart of the Father and He'll correct us. Bad behavior is not bigger than God's grace. And we've got to have that change our life. Otherwise, the church is not making the difference that it was meant to do.
Right. And I love the extension, Tammy, when you read that to your children and they understand no matter what they've done or how messy we've been, we're still loved, how that will extend into their relationship with others as they grow. Well, sure, they messed up, but I was forgiven and loved anyway. So I can extend that grace and mercy to them.
Yeah.
I just love listening to you ladies, because it's so evident, these messages that you carry, like Shirley is all about forgiveness, and it's just that message that's written on her heart. So not her hard heart.
It was very hard for a while.
I said hard and then I meant to say heart. Anyway, it's the accent. You do not have a hard heart. You have the softest heart I know.
Right. That's right.
But yes, and then, just this message that you carry.
I think that's why we connected
thank
each
you.
other so early on and so
Yes.
quickly,
Yeah.
because we all had that experience.
Yes.
And it beats inside of us and it burns inside of us that we can't be silent about it. And that's why I think that we all connected to each other so much to go, we get it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I just want to remind everybody as we wrap up today to get your copy of Tammy's book on Amazon. Get it today or get it tomorrow at the very latest. When you get your copy, take a picture, tag Tammy, and she is going to send you some digital downloads of coloring pages. And I mean, that is such a lovely giveaway. So make sure you tag on Facebook, tag on social media, Instagram. She's on Instagram and Facebook. And get your freebie. That sounds awesome. Remember, there's a gift as well of an audiobook as part of the book. And is there anything I have forgotten other to say? Well done, Tammy. Well done for pushing through. I knew the conversations I had with you about not wanting to write any books. It's taken a while to kind of process and kind of get ready and get geared up to kind of do it again, because you're putting your heart online. So everybody who's watching, please leave a word of encouragement. Give Tammy just a big love and applause. Just love on her today, because genuinely, when you birth that book baby, it is a piece of your heart that you are letting out into the world. You're opening up, you're making yourself vulnerable. It's huge. And just getting some feedback, getting a review is like gold to an author. So please leave a review for her when you've read her book. It is so beautiful. So get your copy on Amazon, get it today, the latest tomorrow. Leave a review, tag Tammy as a post, and and give her some love today. She has worked very hard to get to this point, and Tammy, we are so honored to celebrate with you today.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Honestly, I really would not have done this had I not had you guys there to encourage me and help me along the way.
Awesome.
It truly takes a village.
Yes.
You know, we are not alone in this process, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yep, absolutely.
So Tammy, I also just want to release a blessing on your book, and I just release a Deuteronomy 1:11 that there will be 1,000-fold return on the seeds that you've sown, not just the financial and the time and the commitment that is taken from your family to get this done, but also in the hearts of the people that this book is going to reach, because I know that is why you are doing what you're doing. It's about bringing the kingdom, bringing God's love into the hearts of people who need it most. So I just release that over your books, and I just bless you, and I'm getting excited for your next book.
Yes.
Well, I will say, you started something with this, because I do want to write more children's books, but if you buy the book, go in and see if you can find Andy in there. Andy is in every page, and he has now birthed inside of me Adventures with Andy. I don't know what the title is going to be, but it's going to, if I continue to pursue it, do mysteries with Andy or something like that. So Andy has kind of rose out and become a star, and now he's going to have his own book series. So
very exciting.
Awesome.
Very
so you
exciting.
guys get ready, because now I'll be contacting you all the time. Help.
Yes, it is amazing how when you start to say yes to your call to write, as you start to say yes and you participate and you start to create, then the floodgates of heaven just open and God just releases, because you're available, because you've opened your heart to that calling. So those assignments. Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for listening. And let us know. Give us some shout outs in the comments, and remember to tag Tammy with a copy of the book you've bought. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.